just before we get stuck into the guts of today's videos, which will be up at the allotment, a very quick customer service announcement from me down here in the greenhouse. So, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. UK time, Monday the 18th of August, I am doing my first ever, or hosting my first ever live YouTube show. On the show, there's going to be Danny from the Grow Up channel, Steve, Digwell Greenfingers, and the first lady of YouTube gardening, Audrey from Real Food Comes Dirty. Please, please, please come along, watch, join in with the chat. It should be a brilliant show. It might be a disaster. My first ever one. I'm learning the tech. I'm learning how to do different things as I go along on the fly. But it'll be a laugh. There'll be gardening chat. There'll be chat about all sorts of other stuff. So it's definitely worth an hour of your time. And before anybody mentions it, I've had a chat with Tony. I know Monday night, 7 o'clock is the usual potty mouth time. Because potty mouth is on a little bit of a pause at the moment until October, I'm hoping to step in, do some live shows on a Monday night. Checked it with the big man, had a chat with Tony. He's all right with it. I've got the green light, so we are good to go. Anyway, enough of that. Hopefully see you tomorrow night. Back to the main video. Now then, I'm back again and we're hiding out in the polytunnel. Just at the moment, we'll be on the move very soon to plot number 2. I want to show you what's been going on over there. So last Sunday's video, when I did a little bit of a tour around plot number 2, I wanted to show you how it was looking before I started getting stuck into it. There's a little bit of progress being made. Not loads, but some. And I just wanted to show you what's been going on, what I've been doing. I've got some stuff to plant out in plot number 2. There's a bit of progress for you. So we'll be doing that today as well. But on our way to plot number 2, I just wanted to show you a couple of little things. And the first thing is on this seat down here. Look at this. How beautiful is that? I just picked that today. And the only thing I don't know is what variety it is. It is beautiful. It's on this plant over here. And the tomatoes look a very sort of dark kind of purpley colour, and the bottom goes green to begin with, then they ripen to this most wonderful sort of purpley colour on the top, and then this yellowy orange colour on the bottom, and they look amazing. But for some reason I haven't got a label on it, and I don't know why, and I don't know where the label's gone. Anyway, on top of that, the monstrous cucumber plant here, the Carmen at the back, you can see it's coming all the way up here. And if I move it up, I'm now training it all the way along the roof. And I must, one plant, there's only one plant there, one common cucumber plant. I've had dozens and dozens of cucumbers off it. Now every year I grow different varieties of tomatoes, different peppers, stuff like that. There's just a couple of things I absolutely swear by. And one of those is, every year, grow yourself a common cucumber plant and you won't be disappointed. Now let's get on the move just a little bit, because there's one thing. I've got a chair here in the polytunnel that's blocking my way out, but there's one thing I just wanted to show you out here, and I'm sure this is probably quite a common problem for a lot of people at this time of year, and I'm just going to swivel the camera around to show you that. So down here inside the big sort of metal U-shaped raised bed is where the courgettes grow. And we've got 4 courgette plants, as well as a self-seeded nasturtium over there that's busy doing, well, whatever it does, growing pretty much everywhere. But just look at the courgettes in here. There's only one thing around here that could possibly beat the number of common cucumbers we've had. It's the number of courgettes. Now there's 3 on there ready for picking. I've probably got about 10 in the house at the moment. And if we come over to the yellow ones, there's at least another 2, maybe that one over there, maybe 3 to pick here. And it's much the same story sort of down here in the other corners where the other yellow and green courgettes are. So I might have gone in a bit of a huff recently and taken a break and had some time off. Things are looking good though. Some things are looking good though. And speaking of things looking a little bit different, let me just turn around here. Let me come down at my honkers. You might notice behind me something is missing. Normally this sort of zone behind me here, as you can see at the back there where the double height palette colour is, that's where the carrots are, that's the sweet candles in there. We'll come to the carrots in a video very, very soon, because I think some of them are ready for picking. You'll notice there's 2 sort of big brown squares behind me where palette colours used to be. Well, can anybody guess where those pallet collars might have moved to. And let's hope and I've got enough chat just to keep going till we can get to plot number 2. But luckily for me, let me just navigate the gate. You'll get a full 360 as we spin round through the gate. Luckily for me, plot number 2 isn't particularly far away, and I've just got to come a few steps up here and we'll navigate another gate, a different type of gate, just to give me a bit of a challenge there. We'll give you another 360 spin shot and we'll pop up here over to sort of this side of the plot where I'd mentioned in the video last Sunday that most of the pallet collar raised beds are going to go. Speaking of which, let me spin you around again. So, bit of context where we are. Here's the gate, where we come in. This is what I showed you last week. You can see we've got this bed here with the lavender plants and the bazillion bees all over it at the moment. There's absolutely tons of them. And speaking of bees, I want to show you a wasp thing actually in a moment. I'll show you that as well. But let's just come along here. Not done much of this. This is still covered, this bed. But look, we've got beds. We've got beds in plot number 2 and we're making progress. The beauty of these pallet collars is they were so easy to move. Dug the compost out, lifted the collar up, moved it in here, put it down, tipped the compost back in. Job's a good one, job done. Didn't take particularly long to do it. Now there's cardboard all over the bottom of them. You can see that there's compost bags poking out. That's because I lined the insides of the pallet collars with compost bags just to protect the wood a little bit more. Let's get in a little bit closer. Let's actually have a look at that. There you go. So you can see there that there's compost bags all the way around there, just giving the wood a little bit of protection. So I think that one and that one over there just need topped up, maybe just a little bit before I put something in them. But this bed, this one just here, I think this is going to be ripe for the picking. And let's just have look, we're going on a walk again. Let's go over here and I'll show you what I've got. I've got a big tray of spring onions just here, ready to go in that bed over there. And speaking of which, less waffling on, more getting the plants in. I'll get over there, we'll get set up. I'll have to go back to plot number 1 to get the kit that I need, and we'll come back over here and we'll get cracking. Now I can hear what you're thinking from here, and that is, you were going to put the spring onions in that bed. Yes, I was, but now I'm remembering, when I moved it, there was ants in the bed, or ants in the compost. And when I just came, they look like flying ants actually, and when I just came to plant them out there, I could see some of the ants. Sorry, itchy ear. Now we can hear what you're thinking from there, and it's, you were going to put them in that bed. That's where the spring onions were going to go, and you're absolutely right. I was going to put them in there. But when I moved it, there was ants in it, and there still looks like there's ants in it. When I just got down there my honkers to have a look at the bed, start planting them out, I can see the ants. So I'll be dealing with the ants before I put anything in that bed. Look at the ants, they're generally not too destructive, they don't do too much harm, but I don't really want them in the bed doing stuff, so I'll sort them out and we'll get on top of them. However, this bed is maybe a little bit shallow on the compost front. I'll put these in. Next time I'm up here, bag of compost, scatter some in, fill it up a little bit. It'll be absolutely grand. And you might be thinking, 3 pallet collars, it's not that much progress. It's not that much progress, no, but given that 2 weeks ago I was ready to jack the whole thing in, I'm really quite pleased with myself. But these spring onions here, which ones are these, are my favourite variety of all time. It's a variety I talk about all the time. You know, I was talking about the carmine cucumbers just before. These spring onions, if you've been knocking around these parts for a while, this is a variety called Katana, and it is wonderful. It is brilliant. They grow really, really well. They taste really, really nice. They are brilliant. I mean, just look at those little plugs. They're all multi-sown. There's about 5 or 6 in each bunch, and they are blooming marvellous. And I'm not going to overcomplicate anything. The compost probably needs a good bit of nutrition in there. I'll probably add some more later on, actually. Bit of blood, fish and bone in the hole. Get it planted. A lot of people faff about with spacing and stuff like that, and I'm a little bit rogue when it comes to spacing, and I just sort of judge it by luck. You know what I mean? I don't generally read the packets, the seed packets too much, or do a lot of research into just how far apart these should be. And there's a fly, honestly, there's a fly buzzing about. It was the same on Sunday. I was here, right? There was a fly, and it must have followed me about everywhere I went. Honestly, everywhere I was, this blooming fly was in my face, buzzing about, and it was driving me round the blooming. It's there again. It's driving me round the twist, and I just catch it like in my peripheral vision or wherever it's buzzing about, and it's annoying me. Speaking of bugs, I mentioned the wasps. I'll show you the wasps after I've done this. A bit of a wasp issue behind us, but I'll show you that. But yeah, spring onions all over this bed. It's just good to get. And I've just realised I've not put blood, fish and bone in all the holes because I've been chatting to you guys. However, I don't mind. It's all right. We'll put some fertiliser on the top. We'll give it a water in and it will be smashing. So I am going to fill up the rest of this bed with the rest of these spring onions. It's just going to be rinse and repeat, this time with the fish, blood and bone in each of the holes. We'll get it planted out and I'll come back to you. We'll see how it's looking and I'll show you the wasp problem. And quick as a flash, job done. Maybe it took me about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so by the time I'd fixed my mistake by missing the blood, fish and bone out of some of the holes. But not to worry, we don't worry about that sort of thing. And I'll not mention the wasp that came flying about me just before when I started to record it. We'll definitely not mention that. But anyway, enough of me. Let's have a look at that. So here we are, right at the edge of plot number 2. You can see we've got our spring onions in there. They look a bit sad, a bit floppy at the moment. They've all just been transplanted. They've just been watered. You know, give them a few days and they will look right as rain. But I am absolutely over the moon. Let's just take a couple of steps back here to have a look, to have this started. And just speaking about this area here, I mentioned before, we've got a layer of cardboard under all the beds there and the compost bags that are poking out. I am going to get this, so there'll be another 2 beds there and another one just sort of at the end here. So we'll get 6 beds in this space here altogether, and I think eventually I'll probably put chips or something down in between them just to stop you can see some of these awful blooming weeds that are cropping up in this bed. But you know, it'll just take a bit of time. We'll get on top of it and it will be looking right as rain. But speaking of problems, let's just have a little walk over here. I'm going to come over here very carefully and very slowly because this is where we've got a bit of a wasp thing going on. And this is I just had a couple of sunflowers and I stuck them in plot number 2, one there, one there. I've not looked after them, I've not watered them, I've done nothing. They're just growing, which is why they're a bit small and a bit sad. But I saw this the other day and look, I don't want to get too close. Hopefully the camera's going to pick it up. Look at the wasps all over the bottom of that. I noticed that the sort of stem had become all sort of browny coloured and there's wasps all over it, and I can only assume they must be feeding on the sap inside the stem, and they're all over the blooming place. And I was gonna water it. I thought, let's get the watering can on it, but then I decided I'm not really brave enough. Maybe I'll do it and I'll run away at some point. I'll make sure I've got a clear sort of exit, but I want to get rid of them. I don't want all the wasps hanging around, so I might water it, and then once they're all away, chop that down. It's not doing anything, just to get rid of the wasps. And speaking of which, they're all flying about, so I'm going to make a hasty retreat. I'm going to stand over here in the safety of the lavender where the lovely friendly bees are, and not the wasps. Yes, wasps are important pollinators. Everybody knows what they're like though. The bees are much more friendly and we like them a lot more. But anyway, it is great. Great feeling, lovely progress. Plot number 2, it's only 3 beds, but it's a start and it's progress. And I think over the next few weeks, few months, however long it takes, we're going to be moving stuff over from plot number 1, plot number 2. The greenhouse is a little bit sparse at the moment for stuff to come up into the bed. So I've been on to, is it rocket plants or something like that's called anyway, and I've ordered up a load of plug plants. By the time this video goes out, I think they should actually have been delivered, and hopefully the beds that we move over, as we move them over, we'll get them filled up and it'll start looking a bit good around here, a lot better. Bit of life about the place, stuff growing, a bit of greenery, all that sort of stuff, and it will be looking tip top. Anyway, that is me done for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, folks.